Me and Pac went in the studio and did a song together. And then them little dudes.
Outlaws.
Yeah.
Outlaws.
They came, like, as soon as we got there, they came up to Pac talking about, yo, Lauryn Hill dissed you, Mobb Deep dissed you.
Yeah, it's true. Tupac, he really had an issue with Jay-Z. He really didn't like him then.
Not at all.
I think that if Pac was alive, it would have been a whole different story. And as much money as Jay-Z has, he still hasn't accomplished what Tupac accomplished before he was at 25 years old.
Welcome back to Fame Flux, where the truth behind fame gets exposed. Hip-hop legend Big Daddy Kane has dropped shocking claims that Jay-Z betrayed not just him, but also Tupac Shakur during a critical period in rap history. In a newly resurfaced interview, Kane detailed how he helped mentor a young Jay-Z in the early 90s, giving him exposure on tours and platforms that helped launch his career.
Oh, hold up. Tupac is a lyricist. See what I'm saying? It's just that he's not one of those lyrical MCs that spit stuff, but his stuff is, he spit deep lyrics that touch your soul.
But according to Kane, once Jay-Z found mainstream success, he cut ties and rewrote the past to distance himself from those who helped him rise. Jay was like my little brother back then, Kane said, but when the money came, the loyalty disappeared. Even more surprising, Kane claimed that Jay-Z sided with the East Coast industry elite during the height of the East versus West rivalry, allegedly turning his back on Tupac when the rapper needed support. Kane says he witnessed conversations where Jay-Z refused to publicly acknowledge their ties to avoid controversy.
Yeah, I heard that no one really wanted to sign him when you was shopping him around the record labels. Is that true?
Yeah. This was, I want to say, I don't know, 90, 91 maybe. We was, we recorded some songs, probably about 4 or 5 songs on Jay-Z, and shopped them to several different record labels, and they all passed.
These revelations are shaking fans, many of whom have long debated Jay-Z's silence during Tupac's most turbulent years. Some now believe Jay strategically avoided the West Coast beef to protect his own image. Jay-Z has not responded publicly, but Kane's words have reignited conversations around hip-hop loyalty, legacy, and what's sacrificed in the pursuit of power. With new light shining on old alliances, the truth behind hip-hop's golden era may not be as glamorous as once believed.
I remember actually having a record deal through a production deal with someone else and recording, and then the next thing you know, someone else on the label blew up.
Big Daddy Kane just made a statement about Jay-Z and Tupac that sent shockwaves through the hip-hop community, something no one saw coming. For years, the accepted story was clear. Kane gave Jay-Z his big break, bringing him on tour, giving him stage time, and helping launch his career. Jay-Z was once the hungry MC freestyling in Kane's cypher, opening shows during the Chocolate City tour. That's undisputed history. But as Jay-Z rose to superstardom, Big Daddy Kane's name began fading from the mainstream narrative, almost as if his role had been erased. Now here's where things take a deeper turn. Kane's recent comments don't just revisit his contributions, they also touch on Tupac. While Kane was opening doors on the East Coast, Pac was waging war on what he called industry phoniness, calling out fake personas and, yes, sending direct and indirect jabs at Jay-Z. So the question is, what is Big Daddy Kane truly suggesting? That Jay-Z didn't just get inspired by the legends before him, but built his legacy by stepping over their foundations without looking back? Jay-Z didn't just get invited to the stage. He was given real opportunities. Big Daddy Kane allowed him to spit freestyles while he changed outfits during shows, essentially giving Jay spotlight moments in front of live audiences. But Kane's support didn't stop there. He also took Jay-Z into the studio, recording demo tracks and pitching them to major record labels. According to Kane, getting those labels to bite was a struggle. Jay-Z's unique style, fast-paced, smooth, and aggressive, didn't resonate with executives at the time. Most passed without hesitation, but Kane believed in the long game. He felt Jay-Z had something special and would eventually evolve into an elite lyricist. And that belief paid off. Jay did rise. But this is where the story becomes complex. Kane's influence is obvious in Jay-Z's early cadence and delivery. Yet in Jay-Z's public retellings, his interviews, documentaries, and even in his memoir Decoded, the connection to Kane is mentioned only briefly. There's no deep homage or detailed acknowledgement, just a quick nod to stagecraft and pacing. Kane noticed that silence, and things got tenser when fans speculated that Jay-Z's lyric on "Do It Again," "I've seen the same ish happen to Kane, 3 cuts in your eyebrows trying to wild out," was a direct diss. The line referenced Kane's well-known look, 3 lines shaved into his eyebrows, and left many wondering if Jay was throwing shade at the very man who opened doors for him. That lyric from Jay-Z, 3 cuts in your eyebrows trying to wild out, can easily be interpreted as a subtle dig at Big Daddy Kane, even if Jay never confirmed it publicly. Those 3 slits weren't random. They were Kane's trademark during his peak in the late 80s and early 90s, a visual cue that represented confidence, swagger, and originality. By the time the late 90s arrived, Kane's mainstream momentum had slowed. A new generation of rappers was rising, including Jay-Z, who had once performed in Kane's cypher. So when Jay, now a dominant voice in hip-hop, delivered that cold and detached line on "Do It Again," fans began speculating that it was mockery wrapped in a punchline. Even Angie Martinez, a respected voice in hip-hop media, reportedly commented on her show that it sounded like a diss, fueling the speculation. While Kane later dismissed the idea publicly, the sentiment stuck with fans and insiders. It raised questions. Was Jay-Z rewriting history? Was the mentor being erased? Adding complexity, Jay had previously admitted to studying Kane's stage presence, delivery, and poise, especially from backstage during those early tours. But as Jay-Z evolved into his hustler persona, Kane stepped aside, allowing him the space to grow. Now, years later, Kane is subtly questioning whether Jay's distancing was intentional, part of a larger effort to control the narrative and image. But Kane wasn't the only one seeing the shift. Around the same time, Tupac Shakur was raising alarms. As Kane moved back, Pac moved forward, calling out the changes in the industry. He saw a transformation from artists rooted in substance and lyrical integrity to a wave of performers driven by image, fame, and power plays. One name that consistently emerged in Tupac's conversations and criticisms was Jay-Z. Back in the day, speculation swirled that Jay-Z saw Tupac as a threat, not just because of lyrical prowess, but because Tupac had that rare, magnetic presence that commanded rooms, videos, and stages, something that couldn't be manufactured or taught. While Jay-Z was recognized for his calculated delivery and sharp wordplay, Tupac had authenticity and emotional weight behind every verse. Many insiders noted that this unfiltered charisma made Pac stand out in ways Jay-Z couldn't replicate. Eventually, those underlying tensions turned into something bigger, real friction between the two before Tupac's untimely death. The tension escalated when Jay-Z collaborated with the Notorious B.I.G. on the track Brooklyn's Finest, a standout record from Jay's Reasonable Doubt album released in 1996. Both Jay and Biggie hailed from Brooklyn's Bed-Stuy and were building a strong bond in the early 90s. But this collaboration came at a volatile moment. The East Coast-West Coast feud was already spiraling out of control. Irv Gotti, who worked closely with Jay-Z during that era, reportedly warned against featuring Biggie on the song. He knew the optics could worsen tensions, especially with West Coast artists already feeling targeted. Despite the warning, the record was released, and it intensified the narrative. Meanwhile, Tupac and Biggie had once been friends, sharing stages, trading rhymes, and showing mutual respect. That changed drastically in 1994, when Tupac was shot 5 times in a robbery at Quad Studios in Manhattan. Tupac publicly stated that he believed Biggie and Diddy had knowledge of the attack or the setup and failed to warn him. That perceived betrayal would fuel years of lyrical attacks, personal jabs, and deep-seated resentment, shaping the course of rap history. Jay-Z's proximity to Biggie during this period only made him a new target in Tupac's line of fire. Biggie, for his part, always denied having any involvement or prior knowledge of the Quad Studios shooting. Despite Tupac's claims, Biggie consistently maintained that he was unaware of the incident and had nothing to do with it. But the damage had already been done, and trust between the two was permanently fractured. Following the Quad Studios shooting, the relationship between Tupac and Biggie spiraled. They began exchanging public dices, and tensions in the industry grew darker. Shortly before Jay-Z released Brooklyn's Finest, Biggie dropped Who Shot Ya, a track that many believed was a subliminal shot aimed at Pac. By that point, the East Coast-West Coast conflict had reached a fever pitch. That's why Irv Gotti had warned Jay-Z not to drop Brooklyn's Finest with Biggie. The stakes were too high, and the timing could make the situation worse. Jay-Z chose to release the track anyway, and it quickly stirred the pot. In his verse, Biggie referenced Pac directly, calling him his son and throwing fuel on the rumors surrounding Faith Evans and Tupac. This led to Tupac responding forcefully. He launched lyrical attacks aimed at Jay-Z, targeting him on songs like Bomb First, My Second Reply, and F on Friends. These weren't vague bars. They were calculated and aimed directly at Jay-Z's rising influence on the East Coast scene. Fans began anticipating that Jay-Z would retaliate with a full diss track of his own. However, that never happened, at least not publicly. Just weeks after Tupac's scathing tracks, he was fatally shot in a drive-by attack in Las Vegas. The rap world was stunned. But there's a twist that many fans don't know. Jay-Z did in fact write a response diss titled Scathing. The track reportedly went hard at Pac, directly addressing the allegations and defending Jay's position. Yet, Jay-Z never released the song. According to insiders, he shelved the track out of respect, choosing not to escalate the situation while tensions were still raw. The Unreleased diss became one of hip-hop's most talked-about what-ifs, highlighting the thin line artists walked between lyrical warfare and real-world consequences. After Tupac's death, Jay-Z reportedly performed the Unreleased diss track Scathing live at the Apollo Theater. According to DJ Clark Kent, the track wasn't just intense, it was wildly disrespectful, filled with pointed lines aimed directly at Tupac. Jay's performance wasn't random, it was deliberate, revealing the weight he had been carrying. Clark Kent explained that Jay-Z performed the track because he felt like he had something to prove. He had spent years in the shadow of Tupac's cultural dominance and lyrical intensity. Performing the diss was Jay's way of finally letting that pressure out, even if it came after Pac's passing. The timing, however, raised eyebrows across the industry. That leads to a bigger question. Why would Jay perform that diss once Tupac was no longer around to respond? Industry chatter suggests Jay-Z felt a sense of relief after Pac's death. The intimidation Pac represented in life was now gone. Without Tupac's larger-than-life presence dominating the scene, Jay had more room to establish himself on his own terms. Adding fuel to the rumors, Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, once claimed that Jay-Z was so intimidated by Tupac that he refused to leave his hotel room during a visit to Las Vegas. The reason? Pac and his crew were reportedly in town. That story reinforced the idea that Jay, despite his bravado, feared what a direct confrontation with Tupac might bring. While Jay-Z never dissed Tupac directly while he was alive, fans and insiders have long noticed that his camp, including other East Coast figures, threw subtle shots designed to provoke Pac. They understood that Pac was emotional and outspoken, and they often baited him, knowing he would fire back publicly. Rappers from that era consistently say Jay envied Tupac's charisma. No matter how complex Jay-Z's lyrics were or how strong his delivery was, he lacked the magnetic presence Tupac carried naturally. That sense of jealousy became more apparent over time. Even Nas, in later interviews, hinted that Jay harbored resentment toward the legacies of both Tupac and Biggie. Nas once shared that Jay-Z told him privately that he was a better rapper than both Pac and Big. That statement revealed Jay's mindset, a desire not just to succeed, but to dominate, to surpass the legends who came before him. Whether that ambition was justified or not, it added another complex layer to an already deep rivalry. Nas once told Vibe magazine that during a conversation with Jay-Z, things took a surprising turn. Jay reportedly claimed he was better than Biggie. Nas said he looked at him like he was crazy. Then it escalated. Jay allegedly said Tupac and DMX weren't even lyricists. Nas disagreed immediately, stating Tupac was the greatest ever, period. That moment stuck with fans as a sign of just how far Jay's ego might have reached. But that's not the only reason fans have branded Jay-Z as calculated, even snake-like. There's also his enduring relationship with Diddy. Despite decades of speculation and rumors linking Diddy to Tupac's murder, claims that have never truly disappeared, Jay-Z remained aligned with Diddy publicly. After Pac and Biggie were both gone, Diddy began praising Jay-Z openly, even calling him the heir who filled their shoes. That statement raised eyebrows, especially as others distanced themselves from Diddy amid increasing speculation. Still, Jay stayed in the circle. That was until 2023, when the Cassie lawsuit exploded into public view. The case shook the industry, reigniting questions about Diddy's past and those who stayed loyal to him. Suddenly, Jay-Z's tune changed. Now he claims they weren't even that close. This abrupt shift didn't go unnoticed. To critics, it looked like Jay was distancing himself only when things got too hot, suggesting his loyalty was tied to convenience, not genuine connection. Big Daddy Kane has hinted at this type of betrayal and disappointment. Tupac issued similar warnings about industry manipulation before his death. The signs were always there. Taken together, the stories paint a picture of Jay-Z as someone who not only borrowed from those around him, flows, styles, access, but also stepped over mentors, allies, and rivals alike to build a carefully calculated empire. His talent is unquestionable, but many of his industry peers have now begun openly reflecting on how his legacy is built not just on genius, but also on cold, strategic moves. So what's your take? Was Jay-Z simply playing the game better than everyone else, or did he cross too many lines in pursuit of greatness? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out the next video. It's packed with even more industry secrets you won't want to miss. So the big question remains, was Jay-Z simply playing the industry game, or did he cross a moral line on his rise to power? Did he truly betray Big Daddy Kane after gaining success, distancing himself from the very mentor who opened doors for him when no one else would? And what about the alleged jealousy toward Tupac? Was it professional rivalry, or something deeper, rooted in the charisma and raw influence that Tupac commanded, which Jay-Z couldn't replicate? The whispers, the cold disses, and the shifting alliances have left a trail that many in the hip-hop world are only now beginning to unpack. Jay-Z's legacy is complicated. It's built on brilliance, ambition, and undeniable talent, but also on carefully calculated moves that have made people question his loyalty and intentions. From his silence around Kane to his late-stage distancing from Diddy, the patterns are hard to ignore. So now it's your turn. Was Jay-Z just outmaneuvering his competitors with strategic genius? Or did he leave behind the very people who helped him rise? Was there a line he crossed? Or is this just how success in the music industry works? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown like this. And don't go anywhere. Check out the next video right here on the screen. It's got even more twists you need to hear.